Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Chilling Neigh Podcast, your premier VGC podcast. My name is Rashil, aka Conkadonk. I'm joined by Ryan Sable at VGC and Tommy Hayden. What is up, guys?
What's going on?
Happy to be here. Happy to be here. Happy to be seeing y'all after Hawaii.
Yeah, excited. It was an awesome trip. Happy to be back, though. Happy
Yep.
to be back. It was man, 18 hours of travel to get there and back. It's a lot. It is a lot.
How long were you guys on the island for?
5 days.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
roughly about 5 days. Yeah.
That's awesome. What was the
Yeah.
best thing you did outside of Pokemon? Like, what was the coolest thing you guys saw outside of Pokemon?
I mean, I think like the coolest thing was like honestly, did a lot of Pokemon. Like there was like that was because even the coolest things were like I loved when we were like it was really cool to go out at night to like different like places and see a bunch of Pokemon people still and just hang out with
Yeah.
everyone on the a beautiful island. But I don't want to go too far in without first congratulating Luca Cherabelli for being our 2024 world champion with Maridon.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what was kind of cool was one of the big three restricteds, one in each division. We had Cali Ice in juniors, Cali Shadow in seniors, and Maridon in masters. And congratulations to Utah for getting second with a very
Yeah.
cool team, Iron Valiant, Cali Ice team. So it was really cool, really electric environment to be there and watch that finals and watch all the finals, honestly. So yeah, I thought super well played by Luca, kind of all weekend, but especially in finals. And yeah, huge congrats.
And that team had a huge circle on its back coming into Worlds. So to see it do well and see Luca perform with it was really impressive. Iron Valiant. That wasn't on many people's bingo cards for Masters Finals, was it?
No.
Yeah, I think like this, it was crazy because this world's really had like some teams and mons that people thought were never gonna like do super well, like perform very
In
well.
Prison Cali Ice, bro. I didn't expect that to do as
Yeah.
well as it did.
Terra
Yep.
Dragon as
It,
well, and it was like, nope, you're not gonna lance me. I'm just gonna Terra Dragon.
yeah.
Not gonna let you click lance, and I'm gonna win.
We had Hard Trick Room in get fifth. We had Dozo get sixth, and was 12th on the highest rated NA player, Justin Knox.
That's a
Used
lie.
Kelly. Uh, oh, sorry, that is a lie.
Come
Highest rated
on,
U.S. player. Highest
put
rated
some
NA.
respect on the Canadian name.
I apologize. That is a mistake. NJ Navjeet Joshi, huge run by him, getting
And
seventh, and he's the
Diego.
top rated NA player. Um,
How many
Diego,
Canadians were in the top 30?
We had 3 Canadians in the top 16.
yeah, it was a great run by Canada. Huge run by Canada. And
We
it was
have a
actually,
fantasy football draft coming up with 45
yeah,
mice.
yeah,
So, you know what? I'm glad he was distracted so he couldn't focus on fantasy football.
yeah. I don't know. This guy crushes everything he does. It's crazy. But yeah, no, huge run by Canada and actually a Canadian that knocked off Wolf, who had an insane start to the tournament.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Island.
everyone's, but he went 9-0 in sets to start the tournament and
18 and
18-0 in
0.
games.
That's insane.
He did not drop a game until what the 10th round.
Yep.
Yeah.
But he went from 9-0 to 9-3, ended up getting knocked out of the tournament. Which is to say that Worlds is the hardest tournament in the world every year. And it is insane to see some of the new talent that we have, like the upcoming talent. I mean, um, Ryan, do you want to talk a little bit about, I guess, Canada's performance overall? I feel like it was just super cool to see.
Canada's solid. I mean, there's not much to say. I mean, like, I play locals and I say like my locals are like insanely difficult. Obviously, I don't think we're on like the same level as like the New York locals, but I play locals and I'm like, guys, my locals are like insane, right? Like, I'm running a gauntlet every time I go to locals, and just to see like players that I've watched like learn to play the game. Obviously, Kylan got top four in seniors, right? And I think it was
Yeah.
2022. So that's no surprise he's converting to a master. But Diego, when Diego started back in like 2018, it was like I was already there. And then Diego, fun story, was like we were playing, I think it was 2019. and I don't remember if it was Moon Series or Sun Series. It was a restricted format, and the Madman just decided to lead Ditto both games, and it worked. I'm like, nah, okay, Diego got me. Diego's good, and I'm happy to see Diego finally have like that event, you know. And just for it to be Worlds is incredible. And then NJ, I've known
Yeah,
NJ's had this in him for a long time now, so seeing him actually once again, like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like I see this potential. I see all these players like just playing with them on Team Canada for World Cup, which should hopefully be coming up soon, and just playing with them over the years. It's like I see how good everybody is, and I want them to have their performance. So seeing that performance is
yeah.
awesome.
Well, NJ had a breakout performance earlier this year. What tournament was that he crushed? Do we not remember?
It
I
was
don't remember.
early, but I don't remember which
It was an
one.
early
It was
tournament where
early,
he had like a little breakout performance, and I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like, oh,
I
he
think he
just
got
put,
top four or something at a tournament earlier or
yeah.
something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He
And then
definitely
he
got like I think
follow
it
up
was a
with
top
this one.
4 or top 8 earlier on in the season. I just don't remember which one it was.
Yeah.
Yes, but he's been crushing it this season. Like this, honestly, to see guys like him, such a nice dude too, do so well is
Hmm.
so cool.
Yeah. And like another standout that I think we just like have to talk about a little bit is Michael Kelsch. I mean,
Yes.
just immediately becoming like, I mean, first of all, he got third at Worlds. Yeah, ended up getting
Yep.
third at Worlds, following a runner-up at Worlds last year. Kind of just insane how like this guy is just insane at Mons. Like just overall, like Brand Bats King. Like he is just so freaking good. He won a regional earlier this year. I mean, like with Zamazenta, like in Reg G, and then stuck with Zamazenta pretty much the whole format. Was convinced of it. No matter how the meta changed, he kind of tweaked the team, and was super close to making it back to the finals. So. This guy, I think, is. I mean, I would be shocked if this guy doesn't win Worlds, which is kind of insane to say about someone. But I think one day, like, he's just way too good at Mons. It's crazy.
The consistency is just incredible. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, like every time I look at Pokemon, I'm like, you know, there's so many variables in this game. You know, anything can happen. You can have a bad run, you can pull a bad matchup, but to see the consistency, you know, coming off his first Worlds, getting second place, then going throughout the season, winning a regional, going back to Worlds and saying, no, no, I'm just gonna try and do it again, and gets third, like the consistency is incredible. Like I wish I had this type of consistency.
I think he
It's
has the
crazy.
clutch gene. I think he just has like ice in his veins. You know, like he's just got that like Mamba mentality type of thing. Dude's awesome, and he, you know what,
I
he
don't know if you
brings it.
saw. I don't know if he's actually like Wolf did an I think like an I'm him like ice in his veins little like mini celebration while he was on stream this
I
weekend.
didn't see that.
Like there was a thing on Twitter where he just like makes like he like grassy glides into like some switch in like into
Yeah,
a
200.
Mungus
He
and
glided. I want to
something
say it
like
was like an
that.
Urshifu switch in for some reason. I don't remember why.
Yeah, yeah. And he just like looked down at his hands and was like, "What?" Like I'm him, and then just looked back. It was crazy. It was so funny. Um, it was just really cool to see like some of the most like Shiliang Tang had one of the greatest games I think I've ever seen him play of Pokemon. Like he,
I was on the Shilling Ting last week. If you listen back, I was like
yeah,
Shilling, Shilling, Shilling.
he did super well. Got top 32 and like
Love
played
that dude.
one of the most incredible sets of Pokemon against Victor Medina. I think in the last round of Swiss, in day two. So it was just so super cool to be in Hawaii, see like the greatest players in the world in their element, like making history. It was super fun to watch.
Shout out to Wobblefett. If you missed some of the side games, he's been
Yep.
uploading them. So I was not at Hawaii. I get
Yep,
to see the Grant Weldon versus someone that I pulled up on YouTube on my lunch break and was like, wait, this is awesome. Like I would never
yeah,
be able to see this game without him right now. So shout out to Wobblefett for that. Go to his YouTube, support the channel for that one.
for sure. All right. Any last things about? So we are moving forward from Worlds. I think everyone already knows by now, but we're going to Regulation H. But we do come back to Regulation G in January, so
Wait, we
it'll be
do?
interesting.
Yeah.
We come
I
back
didn't
to
realize
Regulation
that.
in January, and it's the format through April,
Yep.
or
Yeah.
to April, or something like that. But
Yep.
Oh, that sucks.
um,
Yeah. It does suck.
it's pretty crazy. Yeah, I it's
I
pretty
didn't know
nuts.
that.
Yep. And so like this is not the last Regulation G tournament we'll have. Worlds will be the meta. I mean, well, it'll at least have an impact on where we pick up, where January comes around, and everyone has to kind of relearn Regulation G and get re-excited about it. This is kind of gonna be like the tournament everyone looks at moving forward. So it'll be very interesting to see
I got a question then.
Yep.
what's up.
What do you think boring standard teams are going to be just back as good as they were? Like we saw Wolf go 9-0 with his boring standard team, I would say. That was a very standard pieces, very standard put together team. Is that archetype going to be dominant? Early
I mean,
Red
I think
G2?
Yeah, it's
the
gonna
teams
pick.
that ended up.
It's
Yeah, go
gonna
ahead,
pick
go ahead.
back up right where Worlds left off, I would imagine, right? Like you're gonna get people playing again, and it's gonna be okay. What was good going into Worlds? Where was I going into Worlds? Right? Like no, not everybody's gonna pick up like a standard team, but you're gonna at least look at it and go, okay, what was I on around this time? And that's probably where you're gonna start picking up. I'd be surprised if a bunch of people didn't start playing Luca's team, even though it was already kind of on the radar. I'm sure people are just gonna be picking that up when they get back going.
Yeah, I think like, I mean, honestly, like the teams that we saw like at the top were, I would say, not like the most standardish balanced teams.
No. No,
Like
that's
there
what I
were
mean.
innovations. So like I think what's gonna happen is like Ryan said, like everyone's gonna like we already had this format from the start of May and through now August. So we had a good amount of like, and especially that Worlds break, like everyone's just thinking about Regulation G. So there's a lot of like pressure cooker meta development and like people just think about it. But I think everyone realized like comfort plus a little bit of spice thrown into your team, and like that's pretty much the call. So I don't think that's going to change that much. I think again there was always from tournament to tournament a little bit of meta countering going on, but overall I think it's going to be interesting because it's only going to be regionals in this format. Maybe UIC.
USD,
Um,
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, I think
EUIC will
UIC
be
will be in it.
February, so yeah, there will be an
That's a big
internet in
one.
this format.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. I think the big three will still be the big three, and nothing's really going to change that much.
You mean the You mean the AV Maridon Dondozo isn't gonna shape the meta?
Okay, I do want to say though, I like on a personal note, I am so happy to see Dondozo do it, but I'm so sad that I didn't bring it in the sense that like I'm happy, I'm proud of myself for like playing a real team, like for the most part, not a real team, but you know what I'm saying, like not
Boo!
at the same time, I'm like, dang, because I would have kicked myself if I did bad with Dondozo,
Yeah,
like I would have been like, ah, then you shouldn't have brought it. But the fact that I did so well, I'm like,
yeah.
wish I had brought it. It'd
It's
have
I
been
was convinced. I was like Chicken Little, the sky is falling. Like Dondozo with substitutes great right now. Why isn't anyone playing it? And now Regulation H with all the haze and clear smog and stuff. I'm like, I think I was right. Seeing the world's results, I'm like Dozo was good. It's interesting to see its trends, and it's so good now. There's so much counterplay. It's becoming worse.
I think the Dozo team came at the right time in the meta, like
Yeah,
close enough to Worlds where, and also with a format where you can't really afford to make changes to improve that matchup that much because there's just so many more like standard
restricted.
matchups.
Yeah.
Now it like good pivot to Regulation H where Dozo is
Yeah.
kind of like back in a huge way.
Centralizing.
And now, like, people are definitely going to alter their teams to deal with Dozo.
yeah.
If you don't alter your team to deal with Dozo, you're kind of throwing. Like, you need to have at least something, like some plan against it. But it's interesting because we're early format now, and I see a lot of like hard countering for Dozo, and I think that could stay a little bit because I think Haze is just a generally good move, and it's being put on bulky mons like Primarina, stuff like
Yeah.
that. Clear Smogamungus, but it is interesting because when we had Regulation A, everyone was freaking out about Dozo, but what ended up winning against it was just like a team that was like, I'm just gonna hit it. Like that's like I'm gonna intimidate it and then I'm gonna hit it. And I'm curious to know your thoughts of like how people will continue to deal with Dozo moving into Baltimore here in a couple weeks.
I think it's a lot of, like you said, I think there's gonna be a lot of people just trying to hit it and out damage it, but you're also gonna have the people that are just gonna be teched for it, right? And I know on kind of the stuff that I've been playing right now, it's I always look, can I have a clear smog user? Can I have a haze user? If I don't have that, do I have intimidate? Do I have will-o-wisp? And what I like about that is there's different options to actually countering it that are also just good against other things, right? It's like I don't have haze on my team. oh, if I don't play a Dondozo, this move is useless. No. I can play an Archaludon. I can get rid of some of those defense boosts, the special attack boosts. The King Gambits are all swords dancing. I can get rid of that right now, right? So I'm not just teching Haze for Dozo. And I think because of that, like you said, it's justifiable to put on your team right now in Regulation H, and rather than just, oh, it's a Dozo matchup. Well, now it's a Dozo matchup plus, and it feels very good right now. I don't know. I'm loving Reg H. I'm enjoying. Curious to see where it heads.
What's your guys' thoughts on Regulation H in general? Because I'm having fun with that. Like, especially coming back from a power level that's so high, like having mons that are like, you're just kind of like, you can take a hit, you can like, and not just die immediately if like the guy, like your opponent's boosted or something. Like, there's a lot of fun mons that are being used. A lot of my favorite mons, especially from this generation, like I love Goldango, love Annihilate. I mean, Dozo Giri are there obviously, but like, there's just a lot of cool mons I think are being used right now. T-Tar's back, like,
Yep.
I mean, but we do have stuff like staples like Ensign, Rillaboom, Amoonguss, stuff like that. So I'm enjoying it. But what do you think of the early format?
I don't know. It's great for me because I'm a defensive player, and you mean this? And I'm sitting there going, you mean this super effective attack isn't going to kill me? That feels amazing. I love this. I can actually like pivot. I can switch. I don't know. It feels good. I love like I'm gonna call it like a regional dex format because like there's technically no like restricted or legendaries like the Urshifu's, the Landers. Those guys are all gone. So it kind of feels like restricted form. It kind of feels like a regional dex format, and I love those formats. So I don't know. It's fun. I'm having fun with it.
Armorage is back in a big way, which means Tommy's happiness is back.
All right, thanks, Tommy. That's good. I'm out of here.
I've been using weak armor weakness policy. I've been using Meteor Beam Power Herb. I've been using Flash Fire. I started my group chats with Topo Wopo and Alex Soto and B-Dog Platinum and Tid Vicious and Matt Bruno and all the Trick Room killers. I'm like, guys, I need help again. Back. Trick Room's back. I can't wait to use it in the Tuesday tour. I'm using Indeedee, Armorage, Hatterene, Torkoal, Ursaluna, Sunflora. No, Ursaluna, and I don't know the sixth one yet. I wish I could bring back Sunflora. I wish I brought Sunflora to Pittsburgh still. It's really interesting to see, though. I really like Trick Room again. Like, Sunroom, Trick Room, and Pelipper sucks for it. Rillaboom's on 70% of teams. There's like a lot of different things that are still going against it, and I'm still like, I think I can make this work, which is really interesting. Like when you could do that with your favorite type of team in a format, where you're like, wait, I think I can make this work even with all the obstacles. That's what makes it a more fun, unique format in my mind, because then it really comes down to player differencing people, and it's like, how well do you know your team, your archetype, and how well can you play it versus people that teched against you? Can you still kick their ass when they teched specifically to beat your team? And if the answer is yes, that's always a good feeling.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I mean we just had a big tournament that happened or finished today. Shout out to the VGC Trainer School Open.
AOX, AOX, my homie. Love those guys. I know all the organizers now.
Tournament, I think there was over 400 players. Yeah, 435 players. And the team that won was Hard Trick Room with like Indeedee Hat, Torkoal, and then like Lilligant, Gallade, Araquanid. And then the second place team was like Weakness Policy Armorage. So it's like right now it's very like anything's going. And then we had like we had some really good players. We had Nico Cognetta in like third with Como. Let's see what, like not an Iron Defense Como, but more of like an offensive Como. We had Dondozo in fourth, so we have like a lot of different kinds of teams doing well right now, which is very interesting. I think
we gotta mention that team was double wide guard.
Yep.
That Trick Room team was double wide guard, triple Axo Lilligant.
Yes, I am gonna point out that they lost round one. I just looked at their name now. I hadn't looked at the stats because I've been at baseball all day. So I came back, looked at who won, and they lost round one. I had played them round one. And I didn't think anything of him. I was like, yo, this team was kind of cool, but like, I mean, I had imprisoned Farigiraf at the time, so I was like, I'm kind of cooking. And they went all the way back, and they pulled all the way back, and that's honestly crazy impressive.
Yeah. They lost one. They actually were 2-2, and then just didn't lose a set. After that, they went.
They're just like, nah, I got this.
Pretty
I figured
crazy.
it out. Ryan got me. Ryan taught me something in that loss.
I mean, I feel like this tournament though. I mean, we had players like Sanvi in top 8. We had Marco Fierro. So we had
Oh,
some
yeah.
really good players, and obviously Ryan. Huh?
What?
People came to play.
Yeah. We had a lot of good players playing this tournament. Ton of good people playing this tournament. So I think this will be like. I mean, this is going to be the biggest tournament we'll probably have before Baltimore.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
So yeah, so it's going to be something that's definitely looked at quite a bit to see where the meta is. Speaking of which, I feel like Goldango seems to be like it's. I mean, I'm looking at the usage here. We have Incin, Rilla in the top 2 slots, or Rilla Incin, and then we have Goldango, and then Pelipper, Arch. So I feel like we've kind of identified like I think Arch has been everywhere and everyone's kind of been talking about it, and that's really been like the how do you beat Archaladon or Arcaladon, and then Goldango. Setup Goldango is like so splashable on so many teams. I feel like it's going to be meta defining for. I feel like it's just going to be a good mon for all of Reg H. Like just gonna be one of the top tier threats. Um, what else do you guys think, or what else stands out to you guys, or thoughts on how Rain's gonna do?
I'm going to shout out my balance cores. I think King Gambit Rillaboom is going to be insane. That's already started to pick up in usage, so we've seen a little bit of that. I've seen a lot of upticks in Dragapult right now as well. I've seen a lot of Dragapult going around. I've seen a lot of Volcarona. I think Volcarona is very strong.
Yeah.
Quiverdance Volcarona, you're able to set up and just starts doing some damage back. I really like Volcarona in this format. There's a ton going around right now, but I think what I'm waiting for personally is I'm also working towards this as a balanced player, but I'm waiting for that one balanced team to come out and just be that balanced team. Like remember when like we were going into like regulation, I want to say it was C, and then Palance came out and Palance was just the team. This is what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for that balanced team. In fact, I'm not just waiting. I'm kind of looking for it now, but I don't know. I'm waiting for the balanced team. I know there's options for it because it exists. I just haven't found it yet.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, well, I mean, first gotta say because everyone was hyping Palafin up again.
Yeah.
This is its time to come back.
I don't think
Thoughts
it
on
does.
Palafin, fraud, or is it? It got top 8. It did get top 8, but like that was the only one in top 8 and didn't do too well otherwise.
The Rillaboom and the Archaladon are two huge additions in this format that weren't in the previous ones. And it just makes it that much harder for that mon to succeed, right? Before it was like you throw it beside an Amoonguss and it was fine because like even other grass types were just Amoonguss, you know, just don't get spored. Now it's the other grass type is a Rillaboom and it's knocking you out with a Wood Hammer. Or, you know, even if you switch out, you're still eating a Wood Hammer, you know? So there's
Archaladon Electroshot.
Archaladon Electroshot. There's a ton. You don't hit the Archaladon because it's a dragon type. There's a lot of new tools that I think are just around its time. Primarina now has Haze. It's a nice defensive piece. I don't think it really beats what's it called? What are we talking about? Palafin. But like I think as a whole, it being there makes Palafin less used less, right? I think I don't know. Maybe I'm spewing nonsense.
Marina's actually been the most annoying Pokemon for me because it underspeeds Armorage and Trick Room.
Are they actually running slower though? I don't think anybody's actually running slower.
Well, I'm running like 60 to 76 on Armorage. I'm running like 60 to 76 EVs, testing out that little one to be faster than Freddy Fazbear. But if I go min speed, I was still underspeeding some of them.
Yeah,
I mean, I was still getting undersped by some of them.
I don't know. I think that's like rare though. Like I feel like that's kind of weird because like I know for me, it's like I want my thing to be faster than Incineroar's, wherever you decide that to be. Like I want to be faster than the instant so I can hyper voice before it parting shots me, right? So
yeah.
I don't know. That's at least my thought. I wouldn't expect them to be slower than your Armarouge, but I mean, I guess you're right. They could be.
Armorage.
Marina's kind of it's really strong. Like it is like eating a hyper voice and then especially with the throat spray, that thing does damage and it is kind of really hard for Dozo too because Dozo can't really touch it for like at least not a one-hit knockout. Not even close to it. I mean Wave Crash probably does it, but But
How much does Terrablast do?
It will kill if you're not invested for it.
that will kill.
That
Yeah,
will kill.
That will kill.
You'd have to be like 252, 156 bold, and even then you might die.
Yeah,
Good to know.
I mean, when Reg H was like first announced, I just hopped on with my Milwaukee team, which had Terragrass Terrablast, and so I got a couple Primarinas early. But yeah, they have defensive Terras, and that's
Yeah.
not really reliable. But the Dozo standard Dozo core right now is like a variation of my Milwaukee team, which is pretty cool. It's just Dragonite in the Palmot slot and like some move changes, item changes,
I
but.
think Palmot's better. I think Palmot's better than Dragonite in this slot.
I think Dragonite probably works better on that squad. I like Palmot, so I enjoy using Palmot, and there's not a lot of fighting types. It's just like really annihilate. We were talking about this. Like I feel like I want to make Enkelder work because
Mm-hmm.
it seems like this is the time. Like especially with King Gambit up in Sin being used, like it's something that could be good. But as far as fighting types go, not a lot outside of Annihilate, honestly.
Thoughts on
Oh,
Porygon 2 in the format?
Not a lot of fighting types, honestly. So I think that's pretty good for it. I think
why
it's
isn't that and Dusclops better?
I think Trick Room
I
just appreciates the Psy Spam option of Trick Room. You know?
yeah.
I don't know. That's the way I look at it. It's like Trick Room is great. I mean, I know there's those Porygon 2 Ursa Luna teams that are around, right? I've seen a
I was gonna
couple
say
Dusclops Blood Moon things, but not like a crazy amount. But I also feel like the Eviolite Pokemon want to see what the format is before they start trying to figure out how they're going to live. Especially with Porygon, it's like, what do I Terra into right now that's going to actually capitalize on this Terra Blast? Once the format develops, I think you're going to see it.
yeah.
Okay.
I think like Porygon is always a little. It's it has a couple things going against it in that there's fake out cycling right now, which makes like Trick Room not like easier to get around, and like Rig just helps like and as a better like spot there as a Trick Room setter because you can prevent priority, you can kind of enable partners a little bit more. The other thing is like knockoff instant. Like knockoff is also a thing, and like Eviolite users really like to
Mm-hmm.
have their Eviolite. Otherwise they just become like not the best mons. So there's a little bit of that, but like I have seen that Ursaluna team do well. I'm really partial to Guts Ursaluna, so I would love to see it do well. But it seemed, and it's like a little similar to the one that team developed at the end of Reg F, where it was like Oregon, Ursaluna, Mungus, like Goldango I've seen on that slot and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting. I think it'll be a core that's around. I think Porygon will be used, but I don't know if it's gonna be like one of the better
You
comps out there.
mentioned Ursaluna. Um, why isn't Ursaluna Hisui, not Blood Moon? Hisui Ursaluna. A facade could kill everything. What doesn't facade kill? Why isn't that thing doing better?
It,
Is
I,
that a high thought? Like, what's wrong with that? Why isn't it doing? I'm lost as to why it's not doing better. Did it
Intimidate.
win that? Is that it?
Intimidate.
It's Intimidate.
And also, you have to predict against like stuff like Goldango, like so, like with ghost types and non like ghost type flying type combos. Like it just has Bond's immune to both of its stabs,
Okay.
whereas like you can just click Hyper Voice,
Yeah.
and nothing like eats that. Nothing eats it. Like especially nothing eats like the normal ground combo anyway, which is like really good offensively, and especially when you just Hyper Voice, like if you Terra Normal Hyper Voice as a Goldango switches in, it's already taken a chunk of damage, and now it has to be scared of Earth Power. Like, can't really Terra safely. It's weird. So, I think Blood Moon though is gonna be like also a meta definer. That thing is like
Yeah.
probably just like the strongest pure damage output in the format with like Blood Moon and just like Terra Normal Hyper Voice.
Mm-hmm.
What
Um,
doesn't die to Blood Moon?
Not
That's a
much. I
shorter
mean,
list.
like Goldango, but like you also just die to the Earth Power. So like
Yeah.
stuff that doesn't really die to Blood Moon.
Anything with Assault Vest. Glamora is pretty good versus it, but
Yeah.
they're just going to kill you with Earth Power. Um,
AB is really good against it.
T-Tar. AV T-Tar is
That
really nice, yeah.
I took like
Uh,
10% from a
Terra
hyper
Steel
the other day.
Hydreigon is pretty good. Because then you're like, you eat the Blood Moon, you don't take Earth Power because of Levitate. There's definitely
Tiny
options out
star.
there, right? Like you just redirect the blood moon as well. You protect, then you don't die to it. Uh, there's definitely options for it. I've tested Ursaluna Blood Moon. Like it was good, but I don't know. I wasn't like automatically winning games because I had it.
And
Yeah, I
I
think
mean,
like
there's not a lot of free wins, but that's as close as you're gonna get probably still.
Yeah.
yeah, it's I mean, like you have to set it up in position. Like the thing is like you can't like it's not the fastest one, right? So you need to get like some speed control around it, or some like redirection, and it's not like special side. It's not the bulkiest one. Like you can set up a Goldango, it gets pretty scary for the Ursaluna.
Yeah, well, set
So
up Goldingos gets
there's
used for
counterplay.
everything.
Yeah, Goldango's really strong.
It's only immune to a
Um,
third of the moves in the game too. More than that if you count. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. Being immune to Spore, especially like being like just very nullifying Amoonguss, where you can't even like Amoonguss can't even damage you, can't Spore you, like it's really just doing nothing against you, is huge. Um, and then not being able to be like encore taunt and stuff like that, it's super strong.
Yeah,
Crazy,
for
bro.
sure. Another sleeper pick or something that I mean I kind of knew was gonna be good, but like it's actually being good right now. Basque Legion.
Yeah,
Talk to me about this. Why is it so good?
It just abused the best rain abuser right now outside of our Chaladon because like what happens is our Chaladon doesn't like the ground types. Pelipper, I mean, it's kind of easy to deal with. It's still just a Pelipper at the end of the day. So you pair that now. You have a Swift Swim. You can put a Choice Band on it. You have, or if you don't even have a Pelipper, you can run Adaptability, Choice Scarf. Right, you have the ghost typing, so you can't get faked out, which is very nice additions. And you just hit things hard, right? Like anytime you're clicking Wave Crash into rain, it's gonna hurt.
yeah,
So this second place team had Basque Legion no rain.
Yeah, what was it?
yeah.
Adaptability.
Adaptability is something to,
Yeah,
like
Choice
adaptability
Scarf,
last
adaptability,
respects.
Aquajet.
Yeah, adaptability last respects or adaptability like Wave Crash, like
it
is doing
hits.
so much damage. It can just like reverse sweep you, especially with like last respects. But Wave Crash is just doing so much in the early game. Like it's you slap a band on that thing, like stuff is just getting O code. Um, so it is really strong. I like it is kind of cool. I don't think there's like a 100% best water type in this format, which is kind of cool. I think especially because we've had Urshifu and then we had like Palafin before that and stuff like that. I mean, and there was Gyarados in there, so like this one feels like a very
You
like
guys are
there's a lot
you
of
guys
water
are
types that
trashing
are gonna.
Pelipper. It has to be Pelipper. Pelipper has to be the best water type right now.
Nah. Pelipper is not the
There's
best water type. Pelipper is the best rain setter.
Okay.
And
yeah,
because Pelipper is the best rain setter, it gets used and it becomes one of the better water types. If Pelipper didn't have Drizzle, first of all, it would just be garbage. But
Well, Torkoal too.
yeah, but that's like it was garbage before it got access to Drought because it never always had Drought. I remember when it got Drought, and everyone was like, "Yo, this is so good," and I'm like, "I don't believe it," but maybe I should have believed it because here we are. I was also bad when I said that, so let's calm down.
no, but I totally agree. I think there's so many usable water types, especially like there's Basque Legion, there's Primarina. Over here, there's all. I mean, obviously Dundozo, Tatsugiri are water types, but that's kind of separate. But like Paldean Tauros, the water one is being used,
Mm-hmm.
and that was something we saw win the first Reggae tour,
San Diego.
the first regional. So that's gonna be something. So I think there's gonna be a lot of options for water types. Um, and also a lot of options for fire types, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like. I mean, we're seeing like Talonflame come back, which is really cool. We're seeing Volcarona. We're seeing, I mean, obviously there's Incineroar, but Incineroar is not.
Torkoal, Tauros.
Oh yeah, the Tauros, the Fire Tauros.
Toros.
Yeah,
Typhlosion.
a lot of cool. Yeah, that
Typhlosion's
one's a
been
cool
around
one.
too.
Yep. It's just like Tailwind, like our Sunny Day, Choice Scarf Eruption, Choice Specs Eruption. Can't fake it out. So that's a pretty scary combo. Like it's something that's definitely need to worry about. Hisuian Arcanine, I've seen as well. Just like kind of like spam Rock Slide, and I did that today and flinched someone to death for 4 turns, and it was really funny. And like that'll be something that's definitely used as well. Um, So a lot of options, even like just normal Arcanine.
Yep.
I saw some people like using that as well, as like a Goldango counter.
Come out, come out, come out. What are the best regional dex mons that we're sleeping on right now that haven't made a comeback yet, like Arcanine? Because Arcanine is one of those best regional dex mons every time there's a regional dex. Are there any other those we're sleeping on? Gyarados, maybe? Like, what else? Salamence?
I think Gyarados and Salamence both have a place. The problem is, it's like, where do you want Intimidate right now? And it's like, King Gambit's kind of everywhere. So, like, if I'm going to
Yep.
bring in Intimidate, Tauros kind of at least punishes the King Gambit a little bit. So it kind of feels like a spot. But, like, I don't know, Salamence and Gyarados, I can definitely see making an appearance. I'd like to see Garchomp do something. If for some
Yeah,
reason it
that's what I
just
mean.
doesn't feel right, but I'd like to see Garchomp do something. We've seen a little bit of Gengar, which I think is very cool. I haven't seen
Yeah, I
Gengar
see
since
that
before they
too.
took away
Yeah.
Levitate, so
The Garchomp one is tough because of just Rillaboom setting terrain. Like I think like you really just want to click EQ with it,
yeah.
and not being able to click EQ is a little sad. But like that would be cool to see it do well. I think like crit setup Hydreigon will be good
Yep.
again. Like I think like
Yeah,
that's
Yep.
starting to pick up. I think that was a cool set. And I think it's gonna be good. I
on
think
the right
Sneasler
team.
is a place. I think like Sneasler is actually like a legit mon
Yep.
in this
Sneasel's gonna
format.
be legit.
Yeah. And like Dire Claw's really scary, and like I don't know if I love that I'll have to play against that. Um,
What's the best terrain setter? Rillaboom and Didi, other.
I
I think
think it's
that's
still
it.
Is
gotta
there
just be Indeedee, right?
why I think it's in Didi, but I
No, I
think
guess it's
Rillaboom
Rilla.
is
No, it's definitely Rillaboom.
I think it's Rilla.
It's
Yeah.
Rilla.
I
Versus,
think a sleeper mod also that like I think like someone's gonna build a banger team around this mon and it's gonna do super well at a regional, but
Wheezing.
I have not been able to beat it. It's Wheezing.
Yeah.
I think Wheezing it is Wheezing. I think Wheezing is gonna be so good on the right build because it shuts down everything. Like
It
it is
really
crazy,
does.
but I've not been able to figure out the right comp for it, but I think it's gonna be so good. Someone like Alexander Hill is gonna build a Wheezing team or something, and it's just gonna be ridiculous, but it's gonna be so good. And I'm excited to see who comes up with that because I think it's gonna have a real place.
shout out Misty Terrain, Galarian Wheezing. We haven't seen that anywhere.
I
That could be worse because of Goldango. Like
yeah.
I don't think that's very
Oh
one.
no
I
no
think
no
it's
no
gonna
no
be
no!
the
Hold up! You pair that with Misty Seed King Gambit, and then you're able to set up and have an assault vest.
oh okay. I mean, there's that. Yeah, there you go.
And then you beat the king, and then you beat the Goldengo. You just win. It's great. It's gaming.
But that's valid. That's valid. um, I'm trying to think if there's any other. I've like oh, I mean Dragonite. Even without Chan Power, realizing that Choice Band Dragonite is still kind of insane. And Paranormal your E speed is still very scary.
Yeah.
Um,
I was
and I
watching
think
Ryan's video on best tailwind setters, and I liked that you mentioned Dragonite in that video.
Yeah.
So, Conk, you speaking on it. Do you guys think? I know Ryan's opinion after watching the YouTube video. Conk, what do you think about obscure tailwind setters like Dragonite in this format? Because I think they do actually have a little bit of a place.
yeah, I think with a lower power level, like Prankster Tailwind is not nearly as necessary because you can kind of just pick bulky mons that can set Tailwind for you, or like fast-ish mons, um, that just do more than just because like a Whimsicott. Like there's three Prankster Tailwind setters in this format. It's Whimsicott,
Ta-
Murkrow, and
ta-
Talonflame.
Talonflame. Yeah.
Talonflame being like not fully Prankster, but like it
Listen up.
it's really fast, which also means that even if you get faked out with Covert Cloak, like you're still probably the fastest thing on the field. Um, but like Talonflame's the only one out of those that can like actually do some damage. Like Whim's not doing much. And so like even from those, it kind of feels bad. Like I think there's definitely room for like bulkier Tailwind setters. And even like just a more variety of like having like some soft trick room on your team just to like take advantage of like slower, bulkier mons, I think. Or just teams with no speed control at all. I think like there's gonna be stuff like that where it's just like, all right,
It's
I'm
gonna
just
be a lot
gonna
of those.
build stuff around like Amoongus being bulky and like fake out cycling or whatever,
Hmm.
and we're just gonna be that way. I think there's gonna be a lot more of that where it's like we just came from a format where it was like you don't have speed control, you're probably gonna die like just in a couple turns. Like it's like you need something. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a lot more like I think soon we're gonna find that balanced team that Ryan's looking for as well. I think someone's gonna come out at Baltimore and show what that can do, and that's gonna kind of set the tone. But I think we're in this very creative period right now where like no one's sure what the best builds are, and there's kind of a lot of dominant archetypes that are being a bit oppressive that people need to figure out how to beat, like Mouse Ape, Archrain, Dondozo.
Size spam.
Side spam. Yeah. Which is interesting. It's funny that side spam's doing so well with Rillaboom and Ensign, but
No.
not it's not enough, I guess, to stop side
Yeah.
like
Alright.
side spam and its partners.
I have two quick questions for you guys just about this trainer school tournament, since once again it is pretty much one of our best bases for what's going on right now.
Yeah.
Okay, I have which Pokemon had the highest sorry. Which Pokemon had the highest win rate that had over 15 people use it, or over 10, 15, minimum of 15 people using it.
Highest win rate over 15 people.
You can say over 10 people as well, it also still counts. Highest win rate over 10 people as well, it would also count for that. And I don't think either of you are going to get it, because I definitely, when I went over here to look at the stats, did not expect this.
Is it a Mon we mentioned already?
It is a Mon we have talked about, yes.
I'm gonna say Gallade.
Gallade would be incorrect. Tommy, you got any guesses?
I think I'm cheating a little bit because I have the metagame pulled up.
What?
You are cheating.
So you're just cheating.
Hisuian Typhlosion.
That is incorrect.
I
How'd you get
cheated
it
and I
wrong?
still got it
You
wrong?
cheated and still lost.
What was it?
Gengar, 15 players brought it. It had a 58% win rate. Typhlosion
That's
had
super-
24%. Sorry, had 24 people bring it, and it was a 56% win rate.
That is super cool. That I would love to see Gengar do well. I think
I
a
love
lot of
Gengar.
people-
Wait,
Everybody loves
Hisuian
Gengar.
Typhlosion had almost 62. It was 56.94.
Yeah, it was
58
close.
for-
But Gengar
Wait,
at
that's
58.
nuts. What? So ghost types, because they can't be fake outed. What else do they have in common? Hisuian Typhlosion isn't the fastest. Gengar's what, 110?
Well, Typhlosion is usually paired with Tailwind or being
Yeah.
on a like with
Typhlosion's
Scarf,
like, you're going to go
like,
Specs, Tailwind, Eruption, and stuff. And then Gengar just has
yeah,
Haze.
that's not like- so both of them are just fast. They hit hard and like they have some. Gengar has some utility.
Yeah.
Oh,
Also,
Hisuian
good
Typhlosion gets
dog.
Frisk.
Yes, it gets Frisk, so you can know where the
Yeah.
Zoroark is.
That's true. That's actually kind of funny. Yeah,
I'm
I
bringing
was gonna say,
Typhlosion to the GCs. If you're not bringing Typhlosion to the GCs, you're throwing. You need to know if the Zoroark is there. And obviously, it's not going to matter for the GC, but at least knowing items will be crazy good.
Hisuian Zork is actually kind of funny because it's immune to Annihilate, and that's like kind of crazy. But and I actually have been like, it's been annoying a little bit in practice, honestly. But I don't think it's gonna be, I don't think it's gonna win a tournament or anything. But I think it could be something that we see do well, like on a strange team.
Clefable versus Clefairy. I think that's a cool debate.
Why? I
Yeah.
think it's Clefairy. Tell me why Clefable's better now.
Apparently, Clefable's been so good, I guess, in the King Gambit mirror, like the setup King Gambit game, because you wall out the setup King Gambit because they're unaware and you only launch out dark types. So Clefable, if you have the Clefable King Gambit versus the Clefairy King Gambit, the Clefable King
You win.
Gambit immediately has the upper hand. So I thought that was kind of
Yeah.
funny. Obviously, unaware helps a little bit versus Dozo and some other matchups as well. So there's definitely a niche for Clefable, but I don't know. I just feel like it's fake, but yet it's doing well. So
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually that's real. That's real.
All right, Tommy approved. It is. It's Clefable. I don't know. I think like both will have a place. I don't know if like they'll have a place like long term place, but I feel like both will be brought to Baltimore, and we'll kind of get to see which one's better. I think I don't know. I don't know about Clefable. I think it's cool. I think it's a cool answer, but I haven't been loving it when I tried it. But like,
It's
I'm
it's there.
people are doing well with
It's a
it. People are
mon.
doing well with it. Yeah.
Uh,
Um. Yeah. Hisuian Decidueye like a real mon at all?
no.
I like.
I've lost to it a couple of times, so it's made me respect it a bit more.
It's cool. It has some cool tools, but I think when
Yeah.
it all comes down to it, it's just that awkward speed tier, and it doesn't quite do enough to justify it. The awkward speed tier, I think it's gonna
Yeah.
fall off. It'll be around. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's gonna be something you probably want to keep an eye on and make sure you're not like getting 6-0'd by it. But
Yeah.
I do think it probably falls off.
Blim.
Yeah.
Why isn't it that good?
I don't think it just has the stats. That's what it seems like to me. Like it's just not like I don't know. It's not strong enough, not quite fast enough. That's what it
Because
seems
you're
like
a
to me.
grass type that loses to Psy Spam when I can be a grass type that has Fake Out and beats Psy Spam.
Yeah,
What
there's
did I
that
say?
too.
It's a Drifblim?
Oh, did you? Oh,
No,
you
so
said
his,
Driftblim.
no, we
I
were talking
thought
about
we were,
Hisuian. Yeah, Hisuian Decidueye.
I thought we were still
But
on Decidueye.
No, I meant no. Hisuian Decidueye, I've lost to it a couple of times. Drill. Why isn't Drifblim or Mimikyu better? Those are two ghost types that I think have utility, but I haven't seen doing well.
Mimikyu will see. Driftblim's just punished from the lack of terrain setters right now.
yeah. And like you kind of like this format's really good where like if most of your mons are like even your utility mons can do some damage. You
Yeah.
know, like it's nice to have stuff like that unless it's like Among Us where it's like all right, you're just gonna put people to sleep or like you know like Whimsicott where you can just set your prankster tailwind and stuff like that. But all right, I want to say like
I bring up one more
one last
mom.
Reg H thought and then I think we can wrap
Yeah,
up.
I want to bring up one more mom.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Garganical.
It did well. It did well today.
Yeah.
I mean, on one team, like Sanvi brought it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Samby brought it.
What's the
it.
deal with it though? Is it good again? You think? I don't think so. Why
Yeah.
did it do well? Sandy just player differencing people?
No, I think it's decent.
the
It's a very
Pokemon that
creative
like
answer to a lot of the metagame right now, I think. Like, it's just something I don't think people are ready for, where you're just dropping Salt Cures, you have all those steel types going around. I mean, you basically, like,
yeah,
remove Pelipper. I know it kills you first, but if you get to position, I'm sure there's a position where you, like, get the Salt Cure onto the Archaludon, and all of a sudden it's taking 25% a turn. It just allows you to do things where other things just wouldn't. Like, other Pokemon just don't have that ability to give you on a team. So I think it's definitely cool.
yeah, and I think with like Terra and like Purifying Salt, or whatever, you could probably 1v1 like Goldangos, honestly. I mean maybe like if with like Wide Guard with like Salt Cure, like it's interesting.
Yep.
Um, all right, Ryan, one more Reg H thought, and then
You guys want to
I'll
go?
go.
You guys want to go gambling? Thoughts on Glamora?
I like Lamora. I think like Toxic is actually pretty like I mean I think it's gonna be really good on those are teams first, but I think like in general Meteor Beam's so strong
Yeah.
and like being able to like do a bunch of damage to your opponents over time with like I don't know, like the Toxic damage when I face it, it adds up. Like it's
Yep.
annoying, it's a pain, and I think it's gonna have some success. I think like especially on like some more offensive teams, like it's gonna have success.
I think on Dozo and off Dozo teams it will have success.
Yeah.
I think it'll find its niche.
All
Yeah.
right. Comic, what do you got for us? Hit us with it.
All right, let's see. I think I think Archrain will be solved a lot quicker than people are expecting it to. I think it's a strong Mon, but I think that like all I've seen kind of over Twitter for the last like few days is like how do I solve my Archrain matchup? Like how do I deal with this thing? This thing is dumb strong and I think it's going to underperform at regionals based to the hype that it's having right now.
Yep.
Um because I think people are gonna find ways to either like use different weather, like have like mons that are just gonna like nuke it before it can get set. Like not nuke it, but like you have like really offensive options. You have like positioning with Goldango and stuff like that. I just don't think it's gonna end up getting a win in this format. I think people are gonna solve it early, and then they're just gonna it's gonna do well. But it's not going to be like the premier like meta setter for the whole format.
It's
That's
fair.
my
Like it is now.
like, prediction there.
So my question
All
there
right.
is, do you think it falls
Yeah.
off enough to a point where people forget about it, and then someone brings it to a random regional in, like, let's say December, and then all of a sudden it just wins because no one's ready for it anymore?
Yeah, I think it'll always be good. It's just never gonna be like great. You know, it's like it's always gonna be good enough where people will respect it. It's always gonna be just shy of like being good enough to win. And it may just win, like it may just clear regionals, and this may be really stupid take in a few months, but we'll see.
Oh, we'll
But
find
I
out.
don't know. I think we'll beat our train.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a little bit of our Reg H preview here. We have Baltimore coming up in a couple weeks. I think we record one more time
Yeah,
before,
we get the episode out
but
just before.
yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. So we will catch you before then. But for now, that's all for us. So thanks, everyone.
Yeah. Find out next time if we've found a way to beat our train or not. Will Conk be right?
Yeah, we'll see about that. We'll see about that.
See you guys.
Bye,
Love you
guys.
guys.